Breaking news! It looks like the Mexican monster, David Benavidez, is finally going to get his shot as mandatory to take on Dmitry Bivol. It's being reported by a lot of sources. Ring, DAZN is actually putting things out now saying that Bivol versus Benavidez is close to being done. All right, and they're talking about the summer. I think they're speculating July.
With the medal right here, Mauricio Suleiman. Now, straight to the point, will the winner get right away chance for Better B?
Yeah, the winner of Better Bivol, the winner of this fight is a mandatory for the winner of Better Bivol. So,
okay.
Great.
I mean, does that deserve a rematch?
I don't think that deserves a rematch. I feel like, I don't know, we're just trying to, put us in the #1 spot, so I guess that's next.
Dmitry Bivol versus David Benavidez. Negotiations heat up as PBC defies Turki Alalshikh's plans, setting the stage for a high-stakes showdown that could shake up the light heavyweight division.
I think Benavidez is very interesting. I think that's a hell of a fight. Wow. I mean, if he's willing to do that, if he's willing to be great and fight Benavidez, my gosh.
In recent weeks, the boxing world has been buzzing with talk of a potential showdown between two of the sport's biggest names, Dmitry Bivol and David Benavidez. Initially, the fight seemed unlikely, with many believing that Bivol was more focused on a trilogy bout with Artur Beterbiev. However, just as things appeared to be heading in a different direction, reports surfaced that negotiations for a Bivol-Benavidez fight were already underway, with both Matchroom and Premier Boxing champions reportedly ready to put up the funds for the event. This has caught fans and experts off guard, as it was generally assumed that Benavidez would have to wait for his shot at Bivol.
Now the WBC has imposed and gave Dmitry Bivol an ultimatum to negotiate with David Benavidez and gave the undisputed champion a strict deadline of no later than April 30th.
For much of the past year, there had been little interest in a fight between Bivol and Benavidez. Turki Alalshikh had previously made it clear that he wasn't interested in making the fight happen. Alalshikh's preference seemed to lie with a trilogy between Bivol and Beterbiev, a matchup that fans had been anticipating ever since Bivol's victory over Canelo Alvarez. However, sources close to the situation now confirmed that PBC and Matchroom are pushing to bring Bivol and Benavidez together this summer, despite Alalshikh's opposition.
Who do you think poses the harder fight for you between Bivol and Beterbiev? Who presents the more difficult fight?
I think probably Beterbiev.
Yeah.
Because he's 14-0 with 14 knockouts, 15-0, 15 knockouts.
Yeah.
The thing I see about him is a little bit different. It might be an easier way to beat him is that he's really flat-footed, but he has a lot of power.
Yeah.
The thing about Bivol, he's more of a complete fighter.
Right.
He can hit you from here, he can move here. You can't hit him. He's moving, using the whole ring.
This development has significant implications for both fighters and their respective teams. PBC and Matchroom are working together to make the fight a reality, despite concerns that they will face a serious financial challenge in doing so. A match of this magnitude is a risky investment, especially considering that neither Bivol nor Benavidez are major pay-per-view draws at the moment. Still, PBC appears determined to move forward with the fight, likely in an effort to prove that they still have the power to make big matches in the sport. An insider with knowledge of the negotiations stated that the decision to move forward with the fight is also aimed at diminishing Alalshikh's influence over boxing. This move, while bold, could also put PBC in a precarious financial situation, as they have been struggling with debt for some time now.
David Benavidez versus Bivol is almost as exciting for me as Canelo versus David Benavidez. I'm not gonna lie. The reason why I like it is I always liked what Evander Holyfield did when it came to Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson fight Alex Stewart, I'ma fight Alex Stewart. Mike Tyson fight Buster Douglas, I'ma fight Buster Douglas. You can't beat Bivol, I whoop his ass. Not only am I showing that I beat Canelo, but I'm also showing that my legacy is important. I'm greater than Canelo. I just love that attitude.
The behind-the-scenes drama around this fight has made the stakes even higher. PBC is caught in a delicate balancing act, attempting to secure a big fight without overspending, while Alalshikh is still holding a considerable amount of power in the sport. Despite this, there is no denying that the possibility of a Bivol-Benavidez fight would generate substantial interest, especially among fans who have been clamoring for a matchup between these two fighters. However, the financial realities of boxing are never far from the surface, and it remains to be seen whether the fight will ultimately take place.
Bivol's decision to go against the WBC will likely result in him vacating the WBC title, thus losing the distinction of being undisputed. The WBC is one of the 4 sanctioning bodies who's basically facing extinction in the hands of The Ring and TKO, who recently confirmed that they will abolish the multiple belts, all the politics, and the complicated norms that have plagued the world of boxing, and that moving forward there will only be 1 belt and 1 champion per division.
If the fight does happen, the consequences could extend far beyond the immediate rivalry between Bivol and Benavidez. As some insiders have pointed out, the outcome of this matchup could affect other future fights in the light heavyweight division. If Benavidez were to defeat Bivol, it would diminish the potential for a Bivol-Beterbiev trilogy, which had been touted as one of the most anticipated matchups in the sport. That said, the possibility of a Benavidez-Beterbiev showdown would still be a major draw, particularly if Benavidez were able to claim victory in the fight with Bivol. Many fans would still be interested in determining who truly stands as the best light heavyweight in the world.
Classic offense, defense, leg work, counter punching. It was a great fight. It was a real fight. It was a matador and a bull type of thing that you love to see. Let's see it again.
On the other hand, if Bivol were to win the fight, it could pave the way for a rematch with Canelo Alvarez, or even a new opportunity to take on Beterbiev. The possibilities for both fighters are vast, but much depends on the outcome of the Bivol-Benavidez bout. Fans have been eagerly discussing what the future holds for Bivol, particularly after his dominant win over Canelo. Some are even suggesting that Bivol could become one of the sport's biggest stars if he continues to perform at a high level.
Do you see yourself fighting a light heavyweight again?
Do you think I'm blowing
maybe. Maybe.
Let's follow Dr.
In the midst of all this speculation, some voices are raising concerns about the financial sustainability of these high-profile fights. Rick Glazer has been particularly outspoken about the potential financial pitfalls of a Bivol-Benavidez showdown. Glazer argues that the event could lead to a financial bloodbath for PBC, particularly given the company's current financial struggles. PBC is reportedly facing a significant amount of debt, with some lenders waiting for the company to pay back nearly $900 million. Given the financial risk involved in staging a fight of this magnitude, Glazer believes that PBC may be setting itself up for disaster by trying to compete with Alalshikh's financial backing. He wrote on X, "Wow, just told to me by a boxing powerhouse that PBC is going to use all efforts to secure and promote Bivol-Benavidez this summer in an attempt to show that PBC still has power in the game. They are keen on making the fight to slow the muscle of Turki Alalshikh, as Turki Alalshikh has already said publicly he's not going to bid on this mandatory fight. Knowing what it will take financially to make this fight, and neither fighter being a PPV attraction, will make it a financial bloodbath and could very well doom PBC. Yet despite these concerns, PBC seems determined to go ahead with the fight. Insiders have suggested that the promotion is willing to take a risk on Bivol-Benavidez in order to keep their name relevant in the sport. The thinking is that despite the financial challenges, securing a big name fight between two top fighters could bring in enough revenue to justify the gamble. It's an ambitious strategy, but one that could pay off if the fight generates enough interest and excitement.
If Bivol was to fight Benavidez, without having seen this fight, I would have liked Bivol. I don't think that I like him more now because he's the naturally bigger guy. I think that Benavidez has shown me he fits right into the light heavyweight division. There's no problem with him having moved up. He was always a huge super middleweight, and he's moved up, with no problem at all. in a seamless way.
Samson Lukovic, the co-promoter for Benavidez, has also expressed surprise at the reports that the Bivol-Benavidez fight might be finalized. Lukovic has confirmed that he made a substantial offer to Bivol's team, but has not yet received a response. This suggests that while negotiations are ongoing, they are far from finalized. Despite this, Lukovic appears open to the idea of the fight happening, and has expressed his willingness to make adjustments to the proposed timeline in order to accommodate Bivol's schedule. He stated, undefeated. Perhaps someone knows better than me, but I'd be very happy if that is the case. Maybe tomorrow I will have a response. Meanwhile, Turki Alalshikh has made it clear that he is no longer interested in pursuing a Bivol Benavidez fight. This represents a significant shift in his position, as just a few weeks ago he seemed to be on board with the idea of making the fight happen. Alalshikh's change of heart is likely due to his growing interest in a trilogy bout between Bivol and Beterbiev, a fight that has the potential to be just as exciting as their first two encounters. With both fighters in their prime, the Bivol-Beterbiev trilogy could prove to be one of the biggest boxing events of the year, and Alalshikh seems eager to make it happen.
He deserves it, and we want to see the third.
We'll see the third fight now.
Yeah.
Do you think Dmitry Bivol had done enough tonight?
Yeah, if Artur accepts, we will have the third.
However, this decision leaves Benavidez once again on the sidelines, unable to secure the big-name fight he has been chasing for years. Benavidez has long been frustrated by his inability to secure a fight with Canelo Alvarez, and now it appears that he might be passed over once again in favor of a Bivol-Beterbiev matchup. For fans of Benavidez, this is a bitter pill to swallow, as the undefeated fighter has been waiting for his shot at the top for a long time. However, if the Bivol-Benavidez fight does eventually take place, it could be a game changer for the young boxer, giving him the opportunity to prove himself against one of the best fighters in the world.
Turki Alalshikh, he has some vision of my career, of Beterbiev career, and I'm sure we will have some good fight also. Maybe Benavidez, maybe cruiserweight, maybe super middleweight, I don't know.
Oscar De La Hoya also weighed in on the potential Bivol-Benavidez fight. De La Hoya believes that if Bivol agrees to take on Benavidez, it would solidify his place in boxing history. According to De La Hoya, a win over Benavidez would enhance Bivol's legacy and prove that he is one of the best fighters in the world.
I think Benavidez is very interesting. I think that's a hell of a fight. Wow. I mean, if he's willing to do that, if he's willing to be great and fight Benavidez, my gosh, that would solidify, Bivol's, Hall of Fame career for sure. But look, yeah, he proves to the world that he's the best at 175. So, yeah, I think that's a hell of a fight. That would be a hell of a route to take.
La Hoya acknowledges that Benavidez is a dangerous opponent, but he believes that Bivol's experience and skill might be enough to secure him the victory. However, De La Hoya has also suggested that Benavidez's increased activity and good footwork could give him an advantage.
Would you favor him or Benavidez in that?
Well, that's a tough one. That's a tough one because, I mean, I would go with Benavidez because he's more active. He throws more punches. He has better footwork, obviously, than Beterbiev. He's smarter up there. He knows how to think, knows how to adjust. Yeah, I would favor Benavidez.
When asked about the potential outcome of this fight, Canelo Alvarez hinted that Benavidez could have the edge, referencing his impressive form in his last fight. He stated, "If we see Benavidez from the last fight, yes." Speaking of Canelo, David's father, Jose Benavidez Sr., remains optimistic about the many opportunities available. He believes his son is in a prime position to take on some of the division's best, including Bivol or Beterbiev, both of whom he acknowledges as formidable opponents. Other possibilities include a matchup with Callum Smith, who impressed in his recent bout against Joshua Buatsi, or even a move up to cruiserweight to challenge Gilberto Zurdo Ramirez, a longtime friend. Regardless of the opponent, he sees a clear path for Benavidez to continue making an impact across multiple weight classes, highlighting his ability to compete at 168, 175, or even cruiserweight if the opportunity arises.
David's thinking about fighting Zurdo Ramirez, so we're in talks with Oscar De La Hoya.
But I ask you about that one, Jose, because if you let him go to 199, can he even come back to 175?
It shouldn't be a problem. He's only 28 years old. He does 175, no problem. He could do 168, no problem. David, right now, he's so motivated. He connected with God. He connected with the universe, the frequencies, the vibration. the energy around people, you know, he's in another level. That's why I told everybody, you know, David, you guys are gonna see a different David, because David now knows where he wants to go. He visualized, and you know, I see that every day. So man, that's why I talk a lot of shit, because of what I see, what he does.
One of the most intriguing developments for Team Benavidez is the potential for a long-awaited clash with Canelo Alvarez. With Canelo having recently signed a 4-fight deal with Riyadh Season, Benavidez Sr. sees a real chance for the long-discussed fight to finally materialize. He believes Alalshikh, with his financial backing, could facilitate negotiations and meet Canelo's reported $200 million asking price. While Benavidez's camp remains interested, they are not willing to sit idle and wait for the fight to come together. Canelo's current schedule, which includes upcoming fights against William Skull in May and Terence Crawford in September, does little to impress Benavidez Sr., who questions whether Crawford is too small for such a matchup. He stated, with Canelo now working with His Excellency Turki Alalshikh, if somebody can make that fight, he's the one with all of the money. I think he can put up the $200 million that Canelo is asking for. I think it's possible now. If Turki Alalshikh wants to do David versus Canelo, we are down for it. We can do 168, not a problem. Hopefully we can get all of those belts at 175 and we can fight for all of the belts at 168. We have other fights and we're going to continue our own path. I don't care about what Canelo does. He can do whatever he wants. I'm not interested in the Skull and Crawford fights. People want to see real fights. Crawford is too small. It's like us trying to fight Alexander Usyk. It's too much weight. Regardless of how the division plays out, Benavidez plans to return to the ring in the summer, with August or September being the target for his next fight. If the Bivol-Beterbiev trilogy is confirmed, there is even the possibility of Benavidez fighting as the co-main event, a role his team is more than willing to take on if it means staying active and continuing to showcase his skills.
One thing that I thought was really impressive with David, and I think it's an underrated part of his game, is his defense. I mean, I don't think he gets enough credit on his defense. I mean, how did you rate his performance defensively? Because he was blocking a lot of shots, he was catching a lot of shots, he was moving his head.
Yeah, like you say, he's very underrated on that, and the footwork, the defense, the punches, pretty much everything, you know. But he's only 20 years old, you know, 28 years old, you know, so he's been proving. And we listen to the critics, we listen to what the people say, and that's what we try to focus on, get better and better on the mistakes that he's working. And I think he's getting better and better and better. And he was blocking a lot of punches, to be honest with you. I only saw him get hit 3 times, really good. He stepped in with his heads down. Morrell caught him with Morrell was in the corner, cut him with the right. And he also hit Morrell, but I think Morrell was a bigger shot. And he got a little bit out of balance, but I'm like, oh, he might have gotten hurt.
While some fans are eager to see a Bivol-Benavidez matchup, the truth is that the rematch between Bivol and Beterbiev is still one of the most highly anticipated fights in the sport. So what are your thoughts about this? Do let us know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe and check out some of our other videos on the screen right now.